Turning out to be a day where we're consolidating, you'd have to say, for the market. So currently the Nifty is at around 10,700 as we speak. It is off the high point of the day that we had touched earlier in the morning, but it seems as though it's just about biding time at this point in time, probably ahead of the outcome of that RBI board meet, which is currently underway. We have Brent crude also, which has inched up a little bit. So it's at around $67 per barrel. So that too is probably denting sentiment a little bit. Not too much because it's still off those highs that we've seen, but maybe just a little bit. A lot of stocks to discuss today. So we will be discussing the likes of Yes Bank, Bharti Airtel, Jet Airways down around 7.5% at this point. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, hi. In a way, till we get what comes out of the RBI board meeting, it's what you would describe as a holding operation. I mean, 18-20 points, as you said, and it will be significant to watch what finally comes off it. We had guests in the morning from all hues essentially saying that the best outcome would be that it's absolutely a damn squib and nothing comes out of it. Maybe some stuff worth reporting, but nothing really dramatic comes of it, and it kind of underwhelms. So that is the best case scenario. The meeting is underway, and we'll of course have, I don't expect regular updates or anything of that sort. It's a board meeting after all, but maybe once it's over, we'll have something put out. Okay, so that's what we have at this point in time. Just a quick look at the sectors which are doing well and doing badly. So the real estate index is up about 2%. The metal index is up 0.9%. The pharmaceutical index is up 0.75%, and the auto index is up about 0.65. So, I mean, actually there is plenty. There is pharma, there is auto, there is metals, and there is real estate on the upside. And on the downside, there is very little actually. I mean, the public sector bank index is down 0.5%. The infrastructure index is down about 0.25%. So, it's generally speaking, overall, it isn't a bad way to trade. Even though it might seem that on the index there is very little, about 20 points or so. Sudarshan is with us of S2Analytics.com. He's joining in with some trading ideas. Sudarshan, thanks very much. Morning. How would you look at this? 23-point gain, 10,700 plus. Do you see scope for expansion, and is there a trade?
Yeah, good morning. See, the Nifty was in a trading range for the last 8-9 trading days. On Friday, it broke out of that range when it crossed 10,650. So that means we are entering an expansion phase. Today is an unusual day. We are seeing little follow through for the simple reason that there is so much drama on what I would expect is an ordinary RBI board meeting. And everybody meets and boards will meet. But anyway, thanks to that, the markets are a little subdued. I doubt if the government and the RBI are going to take sticks with each other. So nothing will come out of it, and the markets will resume their expansionary phase. Therefore, I suggest buying the Nifty currently at current levels. Your stops are 10,630, Friday's low, and your targets for the Nifty should be somewhere around 10,850. That's the cash index levels all the way. Individual stocks are also mainly for buying, starting with Oro Pharma, where a small correction is over and a resumption of the uptrend seems likely. Hero Motocorp, where a very attractive trading range has already broken on the upside. So this is a continuation buy. The stock should slowly and steadily continue its up move. And Voltas, where a similar correction has already come to an end. We are in an uptrend, so we are simply buying a minor dip in an uptrend. Good quality stocks are available for buying, and we should be only on the long side.
Okay, well, we have a Twitter query for you, Sudarshan. Piyush has 300 shares of Adani Ports at 332. He wants to know the view on the stock.
I'm upbeat on Adani Ports. Adani Ports has gone through a very attractive consolidation that has converted itself into a bullish head and shoulder. That tells us a significant upside target of maybe 380, maybe 400, maybe anything is there in the offing. So whether you are a short-term trader or a positional trader or an investor, at this point you should be holding on to Adani Ports. Stay with it. You will see much higher levels.
Sudarshan, we'll speak again. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate your trading ideas and that advice. So that's what we are at as far as the market is concerned. There is Tata Motors at the bottom of your screen. It's up about 2 quarters. We keep highlighting what's moving around. We have United Breweries in focus now. I mean, the stock is on our radar after posting a strong set of second quarter results. We have the management joining in, Shekhar Rammurthy, Managing Director of the company, from the sidelines at the Ambit India Access Conference in Singapore. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining in, Mr. Rammurthy, on the show. What can one say? 17% volume growth, 11th quarter of market share gains, and absolutely industry-beating performance in the quarter gone by. Could you just, first of all, tell us where the bulk of this incremental volume growth came from, and whether, you see this sustaining?
So, hello and thank you. You need to look at this in our growth and industry growth in a perspective. If you recollect last year, we had the twin headwinds of there was the highway ban, which the Supreme Court had announced, which kicked in from the 1st of April. And secondly, there was also the impact of GST. And like we have always said, while GST does not have a direct impact on our business, because our output is out of GST, but all our input materials are in GST. So if you take these two, you'd find that the comparators for the last year, same quarter, were weaker. But on a much broader perspective, the industry has been growing at strong single-digit levels, and we have grown ahead of the industry, which has given us these results. Two, our growth has been broad. It is difficult to single out any particular area or state. We have had broad growth, except Maharashtra and Bengal, which again have been impacted by state excise policies. End of 17, Maharashtra raised duties very steeply and consumer prices went up, which has resulted in the industry declining. And same as in Bengal, where in January this year, the government put through a steep duty increase and the industry is in quite a sharp fall. But barring these, industry is growing reasonably well across. And our performance is also strengthened by the fact that whilst our overall business is growing, our premium and super premium brands are growing at strong double digit. And we've also, over the last 18 months, put in place a very strong cost initiative. So if you take all these factors into play, that is broad growth, premium and super premium brands growth, and cost initiatives. If you take all these three together, that is what has given us these results.
Okay. Mr. Rammurthy, it's been around, say, a 10 to even 24% volume growth that you've seen in the past 5 quarters. What is the sustainable average that you can probably guide us towards?
Well, I have maintained that if you take away the aberrations of any policy, which may be either a Supreme Court order or a state excise steep increase, we believe the industry will grow at a strong single digit. 7-8% growth should be reasonable for the next couple of years. And we hope to grow ahead of that.
Ahead would mean double-digit growth, early teens, up to 20%?
That's very difficult to predict, as you know. All we can say is that we will try. We will try to continue our good performance, continue growing our business across all the geographies, continue investing behind our brands. We've always believed that our business is what it is because we have strong brands.
Yeah.
We've also launched many new brands in the last 2 years. And all of that is coming together, and we are hopeful that all this confluence of all this will give us above industry performance. You may have noted that we have recently also entered the non-alcoholic beverage space with the launch of what we call Kingfisher Radlers, 0% alcohol, 100% refreshing. And we have launched it in October in Gujarat. And as we speak, the distribution is going on in Karnataka. We will test market it in these 2 states for the next 6 months and then take it national. So yes, we are trying to tap into consumer occasions and consumers who currently may not be consuming us with this new range.
You started, Mr. Rammurthy, by talking about favorable comparables, low base essentially because of GST, highway liquor ban, etc. Yeah. When you go ahead, you will have that same advantage because of Maharashtra and Bengal. Could you tell us, in those 2 states at least, could you tell us what is likely to happen there? How are things proceeding?
Right now, things are not looking good for the industry in Bengal. I mean, we're clearly hoping that next year, same time, will be better because, consumers get used to prices, industry settles down. Maharashtra is seeing a settling down, but it is still not showing strong growth. So these two areas clearly will have softer comparators next year, but the rest of the country won't.
Okay. Mr. Ramamurthy, we're running out of time. I just wanted your thoughts in terms of where you see your margins go, because this quarter was actually one of the best margins that you've reported ever at around 20%. Are you seeing input costs rise from here on? And what is the guidance that you can provide us, including the fact that you're undertaking cost-cutting initiatives?
Yeah, it's a very valid question. This quarter's margins are a result of the various factors I've explained a little earlier. Going forward, it's going to be tough. We see input prices rising. Energy prices have already risen very sharply. We see a rise in the cost of paper, oil, solid fuel, and grains. Barley is a key input for us. The barley sowing season is November, December. The harvest is March, April. But the trends that we have seen globally, the barley prices are sharply gone up. So we anticipate the next 2 quarters and a couple of quarters of next year to be tough in terms of input cost material, input cost push.
Okay, Mr. Ramamurthy, we're entering the busy election period. Does that give a fillip to your, overall sales volume? What really happens around elections? Although I must add that in many states, one of the common campaigning planks has been, liquor ban and things like that. But that is only post the election. But what happens? What is the usual experience leading up to the election date?
Well, elections are a big disruptor in our business. Contrary to popular belief, because excise departments in all the election states have severe restrictions on hours that we can operate breweries, the hours that the retailers can operate, the quantum of stock the retailers can buy. So elections are a disruption, big disruption. And yes, the elections as we speak in a few key states going on. And next year will be national elections. That will be a tough period for the business.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ramamurthy, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that is United Breweries and the management talking to us. They expect industry growth in single digits, but expect United Breweries to probably exceed industry growth given ceteris paribus and there is no sort of regulatory changes, etc.
Okay, there's 21 points still on the index. 10,703 is where we are at. I just want to quickly highlight what's happening with Siemens India. It's seen a big recovery intraday, and it'll come up on your screen. I'll tell you why. Take a look at, I think from the lows of about 925, it's come up to about 933. It's still down, about 4.8% or so, but it has come off the day's low a little bit. The other names are Yes Bank, which continues to be higher. It got to about 205. It's at about 202 right now. There is some housing finance companies like Indiabulls Housing, etc., which are, middling around, no real clear direction, but they're off the lows again. The weight of the big sectors clearly seems to be in favor of bulls. If you look at what is down, it's, some smaller, infrastructure sector, sectorally speaking, which is down. Otherwise, autos, pharma, metals, you got between 0.5% to 0.6% gains on those areas. 20 on to show for it on the Nifty. Okay, we come to the big story of the day. The most keenly watched board meeting of the RBI in recent memory has started, and we understand that all 18 board members are attending it. Amongst a range of issues that will dominate the meeting, the most crucial are how much capital does the central bank need to hold and how strict should the rules governing lending by banks be. Lata is here to take us through the key issues and her take on it. Lata.
Well, actually, I thought for a change, let's, since we've discussed the issues, why don't we discuss the personalities?
Sure.
Okay, not all of us are familiar with the 18 board members. So, first up, the familiar ones, of course, there's Governor Patel, who's a voting member. Then there are the 4 deputy governors, N.S. Vishwanathan, Viral Acharya, Mr. Kanungo, and Mahesh Kumar Jain, M.K. Jain, if you remember, formerly from IDBI Bank. The deputy governors do not have a right to vote, but they are, of course, important members of the board. Then there are 2 ex officio members. If you hold this position, you get this position. And that is Secretary Economic Affairs, Department of Economic Affairs. Whoever holds that position also gets a board seat in the RBI, as does the Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. These are also non-voting members. The idea being those who serve government cannot vote on the central bank decisions. They have to be kept distinct. Like, this is a distinction given only to RBI because it's a monetary authority and not just a regulator. The government members in the SEBI board have a right to vote. The government members in other regulators also have the right to vote. But here, because it's a monetary authority, they don't have the right to vote. Other independent members, all nominated by the government at various points. The oldest of them is just about 2 years old in the board itself, and that's Mr. N. Chandra, Chairman Tata Sons, and of course holding company of 100 Tata companies. That's appointed in March 2016. Also in March 2016 was Mr. Bharat Doshi. He was formerly the CFO at M&M and the Mahindra Group. Now he is in charge of the trusts of the Mahindra Group, does not hold a position in any of the operating, the commercial companies. Sudhir Mankar, also appointed in 2016, is a former IAS officer of the Gujarat cadre. And now is associated with a lot of educational places. He chairs a lot of educational institutions in Gujarat, including the Navrachna University. Then there's Dr. Ashok Gulati, who is the economist member, and he was appointed in February 2017, so 18 months old in the board. And of course, we know he was chairman of the Agricultural Prices Commission and is one of the best voices in India on agricultural economics. Then you have Manish Sabharwal. We all know him, of course, TeamLease co-founder, and has been in charge of a lot of HR organizations. He worked with Hebit and generally is involved even in the National Skill Development Mission. The other economist, okay, if you can say that, academic, is Dr. Prasanna Kumar Mohanty. He's a professor at the University of Hyderabad, and he is a specialist in urban policy. Former IAS officer, but didn't serve in IAS much, became an academic. Then Dilip Sanghvi, well-known, Sun Pharma MD. So I'm not saying much about him. Satish Marathe. Okay, by the way, Prasanna Kumar Mohanty, Dilip Sanghvi and Prasanna Kumar Mohanty and Dilip Sanghvi were appointed in 2018, February. So they are about 10 months old or so as RBI board members. And finally, the last lot who were appointed in August and September, S.K. Marathe. He's a man associated with a lot of cooperative banks. He also headed United Western Bank, which had become so weak that it had to be merged with IDBI Bank, if I'm not mistaken, and does a lot of charity work as well. Then Swaminathan Gurumurthy, we know him well, of course, editor of Tughlaq and noted journalist, chartered accountant. Revati Iyer, again appointed in October 2018, former IAAS member. She's a deputy CAG and has been involved in a lot of states' accounting. Now now works with an NGO, and Professor Sachin Chaturvedi, very interesting head of the Research and Information System for Developing Countries. It's called RIS, very well known in Delhi. It's a think tank and has been involved in a lot of biotechnology centers also. Therefore, brings the point I'm trying to make is almost all members are young. They're barely 2 years old, the oldest of them, which is Chandra and Bharat Doshi. And they have, of course, a wide variety of experience.